December 2nd, 2022, and this is the Friday Top 5, where we feature 5 things that I thought were interesting, notable, or culturally significant. This week, we are showcasing stories on how to give the best gift to mom, things you need from our good friend Billy Reed, what to eat in between these crazy things called holidays. Yes, there are multiple ones. It's not just a single holiday. Buying the right tequila and how to do that thanks to our friend Elisa. And, of course, we're talking sneakers. Before we get to the show, just want to remind everyone that it is available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, now on YouTube with a dedicated show at Dailey Blend. So that's youtube.com at Dailey Blend. And like, follow, and subscribe to the show on Twitter and Instagram. All right, with all that said, let's jump into the show. So I was, starting to put together my list of things that I want to buy for other people. I am one of the worst gift givers. I'm much more of a fan of Thanksgiving than Christmas. Buying people random gifts that I think they want just puts a lot of stress on me, and I feel like I do a bad job of it, and then my natural default is to just not get it done. This year, I am actually trying to get ahead of the curve and get all of my gift giving or gift purchasing done in the next week or so. And one of the things I found was this fantastic gift where it's treats for your moms, the best son and perfect gift for mom. So it's essentially a bunch of candles that have funny taglines like, having me as a son is really the only gift you need, or mom, thanks for putting up with my blank. Mom, I just want to say congrats, I turned out perfect, or I love how we don't need to say it out loud that I am your favorite child. So these are great candles. You can get them for a discounted price of $75, which is a $33 savings. You can go check them out, knifestuffformom.com. And, if you do make a purchase, while this is not an affiliated link, I'm not sponsored by them. If you do buy something, send them an email, tweet them, hit them up on Instagram and say, Reed Dailey and the Dailey Blend Show told me to go buy things that mom needs. All right, so we're going to jump from things that mom needs to treating yourself a little right. And in this case, the good folks over at Williams Sonoma and Billy Reed are putting together, I'm calling it a capsule collection, and it's all about entertaining. So they've got a handful of very cool items from Billy Reed and Williams Sonoma. And if you're less familiar with Billy Reed, he is an American designer from Florence, Alabama. I believe he was designer of the year, or men's designer of the year, a few years back. And he puts out some really fantastic products out of his own named brand store, Billy Reed. You can check it out at billyreed.com. Spelled slightly different than my Reed. I'm R-E-E-D, it's R-E-I-D. And he's got this sort of pattern that has become synonymous with his brand. And, typically his color palette is more, I'll call it earth tones, or I'm not sure if that's the exact accurate term, but it's much more of like tans and creams. And he's got some bar napkins that fit that description. But the 4 items that I thought were critical that I'm going to be purchasing for the home, and I'm using air quotes because they're really for me, is the corkscrew. I like a waiter's corkscrew, and this is kind of a more elevated version of that. He's got a bar knife, which I think is going to be pretty perfect for shucking some oysters. He's got some glassware collection that is namely, some highballs. They do have some sort of taller, kind of larger cocktail water glasses, but I want the highballs. And they've got this like really fantastic looking mixing glass, and I like it because it's very tall with a very thin stem, and I just thought it looked really cool. all of Billy's stuff, being from the South, to me has like sort of a worn-in elegance to it, and it's like that vintage-inspired look. So it's not too hipstery, but there's little sort of peaks of hipster here. So I'm pretty excited to get this stuff. I'm going to take a little sip of my Kirkland brand tequila. If you do watch or listen to Negronis with Greg, you'll hear more about my new love for the Kirkland brand tequila. But back to the Billy Reed products. Actually, I got to highlight the fact that I'm recording this show Thursday night, so it's not like I'm drinking Friday morning. So anyway, so go check out Billy Reed's capsule collection for the holidays. You can check it out at Williams Sonoma. You can also get some sneak peeks of it at billyreed.com. They've got a really cool little video. All right, so the next person is I don't want to call it an influencer. I don't know what you call someone that sort of has a recipe website or brand on the internet. I don't know if you call them a chef. I don't know if you call them a cook. I don't know if you call them a food influencer. But whatever the title is, Yumna Jawan, and I know I am just completely butchering her poor name, is let's call it a tastemaker for food. The description I grabbed off her website is inspired by Lebanese food and dishes from my childhood. Everything I make is a little bit Mediterranean in it, a lot of fresh and good dose of flavor. It's not ordinary. It's easy, mostly good, so good. So between the Thanksgiving break, I had a little extended break because I went fishing, and we had off for the full week through my 9 to 5. And so I took advantage of it, and I spent some time at Costco getting a new membership and actually buying way too much stuff. And one of the things I wanted to get back into was making overnight oats. In full respect to her wishes on her website, I'm not going to post the recipe, but I did embed her YouTube video, which I thought was really great and gives you a little insight into her and her kind of style. But she has a really great overnight oats recipe that I thought was easy. And one of the chief ingredients was some stuff that I had tasted when I was on the road, and I thought it was pretty tasty. So I've been looking for a recipe that had those. So go check her out on Instagram, Facebook, and her website. I linked to it in the show notes, and of course over at daileyblend.com. And if you like that recipe, go check out her other recipes. And if you're hearing this, Yumna, I am so sorry for butchering your name. We'll connect online, and you'll have to give me an update on that. All right, so let's jump into something that is near and dear to my heart, which is really good tequila. If you're like me, bourbon has just gotten old. I'm just kind of over it, and I just don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't sleep as well, but tequila tastes fantastic. You've got vanilla tequila that I'll argue is very American-centric. You've got really smoky stuff, and there's just so many varietals that I'm a big fan of. And, through Negronis with Greg and other sort of digital searches, I came across Eliza, and she is on Instagram with arguably one of my favorite titles, which is the Bad Ace Bartender. And I am purposely saying ace so I don't have to tag this as saying bad words and explicit or whatever. But you can figure it out. So let me just give you a background based on her bio from her website. She's at the age of 18. She told her parents she wanted to bartend and own a bar. They said, over our dead body. After graduating college, she worked as a professional horse trainer, a career she had been training for since she was a child. When that fell through, she didn't want any rational person does and got a desk job. But after only a couple years, decided that sitting behind a desk was not her thing. With nothing left to lose, she decided to try her hand at bartending. 7 years later, she is the fastest growing bar personality in the business. This year alone, she was featured in uh, I Am Bibe magazine or Imbibe magazine, and it was a top 10 at the Liquor 43 competition and a semifinalist at the Jack Daniels Whiskey Sour competition. In just 7 years, she has bartended in 5 different states, working anywhere from local pubs to award-winning craft cocktail bars. In Phoenix, Arizona, she is a consultant for the local bar programs, hosts mixology classes for Fortune 500 companies, and creates content for brands on social media. All right, so in a similar fashion, I am not going to steal her thunder for the 5 tequilas that she recommends you buy this year. I will tell you that Terramana and Kirkland tequila is not on the mix, although I do find those incredibly delicious. But in a similar fashion, I have linked to her Instagram, YouTube, and website at daileyblend.com. We'll also put it into the show notes. And if you do go to daileyblend.com, you will get a glimpse of the Instagram video where she talks through the 5 tequilas she loves. And I have noticed her YouTube channel is definitely picking up in popularity, both in terms of the number of subscribers, but the number or velocity of videos. So make sure you follow her on Instagram and YouTube. And if you are a TikToker, she does have a TikTok channel. I am desperately too afraid to put TikTok on my phone, so I am not a TikToker. But if you do the TikToking, go over to TikTok and check her out. All right, so closing out this week's show, of course we're going to talk about sneakers, but it's a slightly different twist. We're talking about Create by Kat. She is a UK-based artist that makes fantastic hand drawings of sneakers and lifestyle images of all of your favorite silhouettes. So she's got Air Jordan 1s, Dunks, Air Jordan 4s. There's pictures of the new Lobster shoe. I mean, you've got everything there. You even have some New Balances. And what I've done is I've highlighted some of her drawings that I thought were the most interesting at daileyblend.com. And I've also obviously linked to her social channels. And the best thing is, if you are a huge sneakerhead like I am, you can actually purchase some of her posters, and they'll ship to you no matter if you're in the UK or in the States. She's done some like sticker packages based on what I've seen on her website. So I haven't ordered anything yet, but I'm planning on ordering some stuff for the Christmas time. And you will see it in future pictures when I post them of the new office set up for the Dailey Blend studio. And hats off to this creative talent. All right. That kind of concludes the 5 stories for this week. I want to do some shameless plugging of my own sort of brands or digital extensions. So Negronis with Greg, we've got episode number 3 up online, and number 4 is in the can, as they, say in the biz, and that will be up pretty soon. So go check Negronis with Greg out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're going to search for us on Twitter, it's just Negronis with G. And listen to the pod, subscribe to the pod. It's a whole lot of fun with my buddy Greg Larson, while we talk through Matt Hranik's Negronis book, and we just sort of jam on fun stuff going on in our lives. Go check out the past couple weekly rundown episodes. I'm really proud of where that sort of segment is coming in terms of like weekly content. I already mentioned that we've got a new YouTube channel, or dedicated YouTube channel to the Dailey Blend show. It's just at Dailey Blend. But for the house music podcast that is almost about to hit 150 episodes, we're at 146 right now. Hopefully we're going to get to 150 by the year end, fingers crossed. That has a dedicated YouTube channel, and that is at Dailey Blend Podcast. The reason we separated those is just because we do feature songs, or I feature songs rather, that sometimes get flagged for copyright, even though it's just a streaming, because there is not a Creative Commons, tagging on YouTube. So go check that out, and you can listen to, a slew of my back catalog of mixes. And as we get closer to year end, be on the lookout for my annual year end mix. I haven't really kind of figured out the sound yet. I've started to download some songs, sort of starting to get organized. But if you do have any sort of house music, tech house songs that you're a big fan of, shoot them my way. I'm always looking for new songs for that mix. And like I said, we're going to try to post a couple extra mixes this December to try to get to 150 by the end of the year, and kind of just celebrate that huge milestone. With that said, like, follow, and subscribe to the pod on all major podcast platforms. Like, follow, and subscribe Dailey Blend at Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. That's at Reed Dailey. And I'll catch you next episode. Thank you for tuning in, and have a fantastic Friday and a lovely first December weekend of 2022.